It's Pittsburgh Steelers week, not the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts show. That's a quote. So let's refocus on football. Let's talk Eagles, Steelers. Let's talk Phillies, quiet offseason. I do have a Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow conversation point to get into. Joel Embiid practicing fully. Man, the world is turning positive again, somewhat. Training the AM, we're live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 pop.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, so do me that favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button, and help as many people possible find this show, find this network, the only network where your opinions actually matter. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Bearded Knowledge. I greatly appreciate a follow. Guys, we got lots to talk about today. Got lots on the agenda today. It is Eagles and Steelers week, so the battle for PA is upon us. So we're going to start talking about the Eagles game and the Steelers and what they need to do. We're going to talk a little Phillies today because the Phillies hot stove is not really heating up. There are moves being made across Major League Baseball, and the Phillies are pretty silent. And we're going to talk about that, our concerns with that. Is Dave Dombrowski overvaluing players and prospects? Is John Middleton out of money? I don't know what it is. Joel Embiid is practicing, looking like he's trending towards playing more frequently. That's a good thing for right now. And I got a fun little Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow thing that's going to really piss a lot of the Joe Burrow fans off. Little comment there that I want to get into in a little bit. But let's just dive right into the comments. First and foremost, good morning to you, Duck. First comment of the day. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I pretty much think Duck has summed up the entire show, and we could just shut it down. I could just end the stream with this comment. Phillies are not going to make any big moves. Eagles are going to be fine. Embiid is playing to prove his next team he's still good. It's pretty much the entirety of the show today. Right there in one foul swoop, one foul comment. All right. Everybody have a great day. Bubbles up. I'm just kidding. Tulips, what's up, man? Chatter, we missed you yesterday. It was a passionate conversation yesterday we missed you with. Todd, good morning to you as well. Hope you are well this morning. Dear Phil, baseball stinks. Well, you know, baseball is trending right now. The name of the show is Trending in the AM. And our Philadelphia Phillies are awfully quiet and not doing too much of anything right now. Garrett Crochet has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. He did not come to Philly like we all expected the Phillies to make the move, and you know, I think it's a sign of what's going on in Philly right now, and it's something we could have been able to tell, and we should have been able to tell that Dave Dombrowski feels like it's best to run it back as it is with some slight tweaks. You got Ray Romano as your new closer, and that's about it. I mean, you got Kyle Tucker out there being dangled by the Astros, you know, and it would cost you a lot to go get him, but I don't have the confidence that Dave Dombrowski is willing to part with what needs to be parted with to do that. I mean, the big rumor for the Phillies is Patrick Sandoval, who isn't even going to pitch in 2025 because he just had Tommy John surgery. So, you know, it's quiet in the Phillies world right now, and it's a concern because the Phillies are on the cusp of falling behind the Braves and the Mets. Well, they already probably have. They're falling behind a lot of teams right now. And their chances of making a run, their window to win a World Series was the last 2 years. They didn't do it, and now they're falling behind. And they got a lot of big contracts still looming. Excuse me there. Todd says, Embiid plays away games, no home games, because he will get booed. I made this joke like a week ago before he even came back, that he was only going to play road games, you know. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, you know, that he'd get 2 or 3 road games in before he played at home again. Alec Bohm will be traded. Well, The rumors say that Alec Bohm will be traded. Rob Thompson's telling the media they are not shopping him. They're getting calls. That sounds a little, little talk there, to the media. His agent, which Scott Boras, said that the Phillies have not actively mentioned trying to trade him. I think, again, this is just one of those rumors where, they are probably trying to trade him, but they're not getting other teams to value Alec Bohm like the Phillies do or like some fans do. And I think Alec Bohm is replaceable. I don't think Alec Bohm is this have-to-keep person in the Phillies organization. Alec Bohm is a one-time All-Star, quality young player. Not even that young. I think he's 28 now at this point. You can find a better third baseman, probably, somehow. I don't know. But losing him wouldn't change much of anything. As long as you found somebody else. But you go out there and Nolan Arenado. Yeah, Nolan Arenado's older. But if you get something, if you're able to acquire Kyle Tucker for Alec Bohm and some prospects, and then go ahead and then get Nolan Arenado to replace Alec Bohm, Kyle Tucker and Nolan Arenado are much better than Alec Bohm and whoever else in left or right field. The team is better then. The final score prediction for the Eagles and Steelers will not be given out till tomorrow. That's when I give out my score prediction. But I will say this. The drama that has surrounded the Eagles this week, and A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and Jordan Mailata have put the drama to bed. They are moving on. But I'm wondering if the drama, so I run a poll on my YouTube page every single week. Each team's logo, the Eagles and whoever they're playing, and who's going to win. And this is a Philadelphia-based channel. Most of the 295 subscribers are Philadelphia fans. Right now on my YouTube poll, there's 105 votes. Who will win, the Eagles or the Steelers? And right now, 72% of the votes are saying Steelers win, where only 28% say the Eagles win the game. And I'm kind of shocked at that. Because every single week, because it's an Eagles poll, the Eagles page, a Philadelphia sports page, the Philadelphia Eagles win every single time on these polls. And normally pretty handily. Has the drama that is surrounding, we're moving on from the drama, but has the drama affected this fan base's perspective of this Philadelphia Eagles team? I love Jordan Mailata and what he came out and said to the media yesterday. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers week, not the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts show. That's what a leader does. Stand up and make a statement like that. And I love to say it. Love to see how Jordan Mailata is the first one to say, we're done. This is over with. Jalen Hurts said his piece that they're good. Jalen Hurts said it's just going to look different every year, what this Eagles offense looks like. Sometimes it's going to be pass, sometimes it's going to be run. It's a run right now. A.J. Brown says they're good. Everybody's moved on. If you saw the pictures of the Eagles locker room after practice, there were more people surrounding A.J. Brown's locker than covered the presidential election. There are 40 cameras, 50 reporters, 6,000 media members, all huddling right around A.J. Brown, just hoping to get a clip from him to catch him say something bad. The Eagles are moving on. The media needs to move on. The fan base needs to accept that they've moved on and focus on what's important, which is the Steelers, when I started doing my breakdown of the Steelers, I don't know how they're winning so many games. They don't have a lot of star players on offense, but they're putting up a lot of points. I don't know, if they're a great team. Well, I don't know if they're individually great. They are a great team because they are well coached. And that's why they're winning football games. Notice the shirt. What's up? I live in Coatesville. I own a shirt, Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square. Where are you from there, Darker? Do you know Fox's Pizza from somewhere else, or you shop in Kennett here with me at my shop? But yeah, this week was a big distraction. We can't have that anymore. AJ has to stop doing that when things don't go his way. Look, I get it. I don't think what A.J. Brown did was as big of a deal as what people say. He was frustrated. And Nick Sirianni spoke before practice yesterday, and he said something really interesting. And he said, and Nick Sirianni handled this yesterday perfectly, in total. But yesterday, one thing that he said that I clipped out that I really, really was into, he said, you only see the player, and he was talking to the media, but also to the fans. You just see that 3 hours of a football game and that in the moment emotion. Hey, as a content creator, people criticize me all the time when in the middle of an Eagles game, I don't like a play and I freak out on a tweet, or I don't like a certain thing and I freak out with a tweet or a short video. In the emotional moment is when you saw A.J. Brown, but you don't see them the rest of the week, the work they put on, when they're having lunch together, goofing around. So, A.J. Brown, you just saw him in the heat of the moment, and that's fine. Tennessee, I know there's some Fox's Pizza franchises in Tennessee. Absolutely. Phillies seriously dropped the ball in missing out on Crochet. I agree, but also swinging and a miss by the front office. I am not. So I don't know the prospects that the Red Sox gave up, but I've been told they're pretty good. One was the number 25 prospect in baseball. Two of them were in the top 100, and they gave up 4 of their top 11 prospects. So I am not in the boat, Rick, of a lot of other Phillies fans that say we need to go out and get a starting pitcher. We got Zach Wheeler. We got Aaron Nola. We got Christopher Sanchez. We got Ranger Suarez still. We got Andrew Painter coming up. They've got a lot of money still tied up in Taijuan Walker. I think the Phillies starting pitching, is fine and not necessary to invest 4 top prospects in. I need an outfielder. I need an elite closer. Romano's not the guy for me. All right. So if they were going to dump 2 of the 3 of Miller, Crawford, Painter, any of the other top 5 prospects, I would be saving them for Kyle Tucker or someone else that's going to improve the outfield, not Crochet. But not saying that he's not a great pitcher and would make us better, but I think we need more offensive help than starting pitching help. I have Steelers by 3. Well, the line of the Steelers game has gone up to 5.5. Good morning, Little G. Great to see you. I haven't seen you on the show in a long time. Let's get to 300 we need 5. Let's get to 300. Let's go. Will you get a soundboard at 400? I have a soundboard. I just don't know how to use it. It's a mom and pop chain. It's set up and run so that people think it's a mom and pop shop, but it is a franchise run by local people like me. Well, you know something, Little? Yeah. Who the heck does Jordan Mailata think he is? We Eagles fans have been lunatics since before he was born. He can't tell us nothing. I love how Jordan Mailata handled the situation yesterday. Good morning, Judd. Is it Thursday already? Holy shit, it is Thursday. Don't count on Painter. And once you think the pitching is just fine, you're already in trouble. I get that, Rick. I get that philosophy. But that's something that can be addressed mid-season at the trade deadline. Right now, I need to fix the offense. Right now, I need to fix the inconsistencies of the offense. The way you do that is you go out and get yourself a stud outfielder like Kyle Tucker. Now, Kyle Tucker is going to cost you a lot. Even though Kyle Tucker has 1 year left on his deal and he says he wants to wait for free agency, I'm still going for it. Someone like Kyle Tucker in this offense, you put him in left or right field with Nick Castellanos, and then you figure out center field. Well, this team is much different with him in the middle of the lineup. So I'm willing to, with him, no guarantees of him staying long term, I'm willing to include one of the top 3 prospects of Crawford, Miller, and Painter to get Kyle Tucker. If we got a long-term commitment from Kyle Tucker, I'd give him 2 of the 3 top prospects and not even bat an eye. And I'm not counting on Painter. I don't count on any prospects until they're actually on the major league club. Phillies do need offense as well as pitching. I think it's hitting, it's relief pitching, and then starting pitching at this point of the offseason, priority-wise. The problem is there are no great free agents left out there. You're going to have to make a trade if you're going to improve the team. That's why I don't think that, I want Kyle Tucker now that he's available. But I don't think they're going to go do it, which is kind of shocking because Dave Dombrowski's MO is trade prospects for stars, and he's yet to do that with the Phillies. Little G says the Eagles will kick the Steelers' butt I don't know about kick their butt. I do know that it's going to be one hell of a hard-fought, knockdown, drag-out battle between the Eagles and Steelers. Two great teams that both play great along the defense and offensive line. Both teams that want to run the football and control time of possession. Both teams want to smash you in the mouth. So it's going to be a battle on Sunday for Pennsylvania. It is. Will you hook up soundboard? It's right there. It's hooked up. That's what the microphone's plugged in. Oh, I just don't know how to use all the buttons. I don't know about you, Little. Little G used to comment all the time. Hasn't in a while. This week's game is going to be a grinder. This is going to be one of those weeks. This is going to be one of those weeks where it's not a comfortable win. It's going to be one of those weeks where we are on the edge of our seats, kind of like last week with the Panthers, which it shouldn't have been. It's going to be one of those weeks where the over-under is only 41.5. It's going to be one of those 21-17, 18-16, low scoring, knock them down. And because we're predicting that, it's going to be like 38-35 or something like that. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding on Sunday for sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good morning, Bruce Bryce Harper. How are you this morning? We're talking Eagles. Moving on from the drama. We're talking Eagles Steelers. We're talking Phillies offseason, being quiet. We're talking Sixers. If anybody wants to talk Sixers, Joel Embiid, big news yesterday, practiced an entire practice, and his knee is responding well. Woo! Yay! Super. This is let's say whiskey game. What's a whiskey game? One that I'm going to do a lot of shots because it's going to drive me to alcoholism. I just finished my Jack Daniels bottle last night. I guess I got to go get a new bottle for Sunday. I heard Coatesville is where all the Italian mobsters retired to. I don't know about that, mister. I mean, I am not retired, and I'm not an Italian mobster. I'm just in Coatesville and Italian. So I'll just say this. All Italians in Coatesville are not mobsters that are retired, just so you know. It's such a stereotype that we're trying to, stop, It's more likely Phil starts playing a Franz Schubert symphony than the Eagles beat the Steelers. Yeah, because my hands just don't work anymore, so I can't play the piano anymore. But I don't know why. Is the fact that most polls that I'm running think the Steelers are going to smash the Eagles, basically. Is that because fans think the Eagles aren't good enough, or is it because fans are buying into the drama that causes a problem? Is it the team, or is it the drama that has changed people's perspectives of this Eagles team going into this game? And I really think that if this drama hadn't happened, this poll I got running on Twitter would not be so Steelers heavy dominated at this point. I truly believe it would be 70-30 Eagles. And I like to believe that this team is strong enough. Leaders are strong enough. The locker room. It's not last year. They learned from the drama last year. They're not going to let it spiral. Is it because of the drama why so many people are picking the Steelers at this point? I thought it was Cherry Hill East. Yeah, maybe. Do you feel the Steelers' rushing defense is going to be effective our O-line and running game? It's interesting because, they are the number 4 ranked rushing defense in football, Bruce. But what were the Ravens when we faced them? The number 1 ranked rush defense? And we ran it right down their throat. I really, truly think that there is no defensive line that can completely stop our rushing attack at this point. I really don't. But I think it's an opportunity for them to show the world that they still can throw the football. I don't want 35 passes, but maybe they throw the ball 22 to 24 times this week just to show the world, hey, we still could do this too. Just to give that wrinkle to other teams and to kind of shut the media up. But this team is a run-first team. That is their identity, and they're going to do it whether you're the number 1 ranked defense against the run or the number 32 ranked defense in the run. That's it. They're just going to always run the football. And I got confidence in our big guys to run block no matter who's there. And, you got TJ Watt there. I'm going to run right at TJ Watt. Right at him. Make him make tackles. That's what I think it is. What's up, Big Al? I think it's people don't believe they will win out. Yeah, well, they're going to lose the Eagles at some point. Is it this week? Is it next week against Washington, et cetera? I also think that this is a huge game for Pittsburgh. They're 10-3. They got a 2-game lead in the division. They got Baltimore next week. So they need this win. They got Baltimore, then they got Kansas City the week after that. The only thing that I'm thinking of, this is a trap game or a look-ahead game for the Steelers as well, considering they got their division rival and who are right on their heels for the division title next week in Baltimore. So I think this is a trap situation for Pittsburgh as well, to an extent. If the Eagles beat the Steelers, we will finally get national respect. I don't know about that. I think it depends on how we beat the Eagles, unfortunately, Todd. Because you got to do it the right way that the media wants you to beat a team. Because we've already beaten good teams in the Ravens, the Rams. We've beaten plenty. Green Bay. We've beaten plenty of good teams this year. TJ Watt has been punching holes in a lot of O-lines this season, absolutely. And that's why I don't want them to run or to get away from the run and pass too much. I mean, what's he got? 9.5 sacks on the season, 5 forced fumbles. TJ Watt's still the real deal, still wrecking havoc. So you've got to find a way to stop TJ Watt. Got to hope those tight ends are ready to block. You got to hope Saquon is ready to pick up those blitzes because it's going to be happening. Jalen Hurts has gotten sacked a lot this year. Some his fault, some not. Well, he's going to get hit a lot if they don't have a good game plan to stop TJ Watt. Little don't know about tulips. I feel that's a good point that once we establish the run, then maybe we could dominate in the air because the Steelers won't know what hit them. Yeah, I think you got to hit them first with the run and then set it up with the play action. Jalen Hurts has got to feel confidence. And, again, I also want some easy throws for him to build his confidence. There's obviously something with his lack of confidence because of the turnovers. But something else I noticed, there's a lot of the plays that people are criticizing Jalen Hurts not throwing the football on. I'm no expert at breaking down film. I watch Shane Haff and all the great people that do, the all-22 film breakdown. And there's a lot of plays that are being criticized by fans for Jalen Hurts not letting it rip. And whether it's confidence, whether he hates A.J. Brown, whatever. Something I've noticed I have not seen anybody talk about, almost outside of the deep ball to A.J. Brown that he didn't throw. A lot of the other missed reads, start watching his footwork. When the read is there, his footwork is not in position to throw a football. Like he's like sideways almost. And then he's got to turn to fire, and then it's too late. Something's been tweaked in his footwork, I think. Or he's done something when he drops back that he's not ready to throw the ball right away. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading this. Maybe somebody that actually knows film and footwork and quarterback, technique can look at it and start looking at some plays that he didn't throw the ball. Look at his footwork for me, because to me, a couple of the throws they're criticizing him for not making, he wasn't in position to make the throws because of the way his feet were set and planted in the backfield. Kellen Moore could be more creative with the play action this week and the fullback. Yes, the fullback only was played one play last week. He was new. He was on the practice squad. He's got another full week of practice. Maybe we see Blasting Game a little bit more this week. The ones from Cherry Hill are from New York City. Okay. Yeah, you can't make those jokes. It offends us. Bills find a clip the Lions. The Bills lost to the Rams, so you got nothing to say. Only thing I know about tulips, it's a flower. At one point, it was so important to the Dutch economy that it was considered national espionage to give bulbs to anyone outside the country. There's some fine tulip knowledge right there. It's a slang term for ladies' parts too. Yeah. Do the Phillies get Kyle Tucker? First and foremost, Big Al, do I want the Phillies to get Kyle Tucker? Absolutely. How much I'll offer determines whether he would consider staying here long term. But Kyle Tucker makes this Phillies team right back into contention for the the NL East. Right now, as constructed, the Phillies will be third place at best in the NL. At best. So they need Kyle Tucker. Someone like Kyle Tucker can definitely put them back in conversation. But are you willing to give up Miller and Crawford for Kyle Tucker, only guaranteed 1 year? I probably am, but I'll probably take that chance and hope that Harper can woo him throughout the season to stay long term. Do I think the Phillies get Kyle Tucker? No, because it seems like Dave Dombrowski has changed his philosophies as an executive and refuses to trade those prospects. That is his MO. I don't know why. The Phillies could have gotten Garrett Crochet. They could have. He didn't. And I'm not sure why he's so scared to part with guys at this point. I think I just killed the chat with my tulips knowledge. No, I love random knowledge. TJ Watt plays on Lane Johnson's side. His father time caught up with Lane. We're about to find out. Is TJ Watt one of those guys that doesn't bounce back and forth, mister? You know, some edge guys go side to side. Some just like to stay on one side. That'll be interesting. Lane Johnson, his numbers are still good. Lane Johnson's still one of the best. But Lane Johnson's giving up some pressures. Just so you know. Phil, is pizza for breakfast okay? Absolutely, it's okay. I'm a big breakfast guy. I eat eggs every day or a big breakfast every day. How about this? How about a breakfast pizza? Let's up it a little bit, Todd. A breakfast pizza. Now, that is clutch on a Saturday or Sunday morning. Duck, know about them tulips. Yep. Gukesh is the new chess world champion. Fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause right there, K1, for the new chess world champion right now. Boom. Liam did an offense film room from the Panthers game, and I convinced that Moore only had curls in routes. Whatever happened to our curl-only guy from the offseason? Not really innovative. Hurts didn't have most of the throws we think he had. So next time he does that, or Duck, or the next time Liam is doing a film study, guys, have some guys start looking at his footwork. Because for some reason, there were, I think one of them was the non-throw to A.J. Brown in the end zone that went to Devontae Smith. His footwork wasn't in position to throw that slant unless he would have had to throw it like this because his feet were out this way. It looks like his feet, like you got to plant your feet, you know, to follow through. And his feet aren't in a position to plant the throw. Outside, he was planted the throw on the deep ball that he did not release to A.J. Brown. But outside of that, every other play I've seen broken down, his footwork wasn't ready to throw the ball when everyone says he should have thrown the ball. There was that play where he had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith open, and he didn't pull the trigger. But when he went to Johnny Wilson instead, his footwork wasn't ready to throw the ball on those two routes. So something like where I saw, I saw it, and I know you guys saw it, Liam talking about his arm angle changing. His footwork's changed a little bit as well. Curl Route Kellen. I wonder whatever happened to that Cowboys fan that came in here and blasted us for Curl Route Kellen in the offseason. Pizza for breakfast is awesome. Absolutely. Leftover pizza. I know everybody microwaves, nukes their pizza slices to warm them up. Best way to reheat a pizza is you put it in a frying pan. You put a little droplet or two of water in the frying pan. Put a lid on it. Wait 30 seconds. You got a crispy, reheated pizza. That's the way to go. Of course it's okay. Yeah. Absolutely. You know what else is okay? Is when I get to work, the first thing I do, I fire up the ovens. I make the first slice pie of the day. I got a taste test every day. Nothing's better than about 11 o'clock in the morning. First pizza's coming out of the oven, and you steal a slice from it. Just gets the day going right away. I don't know where Mitch is. I've said Poll like 6 times. So I'm not sure. He must be missing something. He had happy feet a lot during the game because Cam was missing his blocks. Now, I don't know if that's a weekly thing or not. I just noticed it this week because there's been so much criticism or critiques of the routes and him not pulling the trigger. Now, I would have to go back and look at previous weeks, or I'll just wait till after this week to see if it's again. But Jalen definitely looked like, I guess you would call it the happy feet. And you know what I mean? Like, if the play's this way, his feet should be like this so he could throw the ball. His feet were like this. He was standing like at a wide 9 and dancing around back there. And I think that he knows his feet are in position to make those throws. And he's trying not to make turnovers, which people always criticize him for. So it's a combination of everything there with Jalen Hurts. Now, you got to design better routes. You got to almost force him to throw the ball. You got to protect him better. He's obviously got happy feet because he doesn't trust his offensive line in pass protection. Jalen also is wonky on his progression techniques. He is a little bit. He is. A pork roll, egg, and cheese morning calzone. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Pork roll. That's what I say to pork roll. Sorry, you know what's funny about pork roll? I got this preconceived notion that I hate pork roll because of 20-year-old drunk Phil having to slap it on a grill at 7 a.m. hungover, working in a pizza shop, and just the smell of it sizzling on the grill used to make me want to throw up, but mainly because I drank too much the night before. There's a lot of things I eat now that I didn't eat when I was younger. I probably would like pork roll at this point. But I got this mental block in my head that I don't even want to smell it. Sorry, I don't have any water. No, gotcha. One of them had him dead to rights. I don't know which play you're talking about there. Soon artificial intelligence invents the drug that makes it impossible to get fat. I'm eating pizza every day. I do eat pizza every day. And I'm not skinny, but I'm not fat. I'm what my grandma used to call husky. And I would tell her, Grandma, you can't call me husky. You're saying I'm fat. She's like, no, husky. It's different. You're just husky. Just a good person to hug, you know? No calories pizza. Yeah, I wish. You don't grill a pork roll. No. Do you guys have hot roast beef, roast pork on your menu? We used to do hot roast beef and roast beef hoagies and stuff. Never roast pork. Well, we did have pork for one summer. I tried to run a promo on it, barbecue pulled pork. But hot roast beef and roast beef in general, we pulled it off our menu in the beginning of COVID because of the cost of it skyrocketing, and it just wasn't worth carrying it anymore. Like the price per pound of roast beef like almost tripled. It's come down a little bit, but not enough to justify putting it on the menu and having to charge extra for people. I just whatever. I get when somebody orders a hoagie tray and they want it on their hoagie tray, I'll just go buy a little bit from the food store. But I'm a huge roast beef person. It's part of the dinner tonight. A little hot roast beef. There's some recipe my wife saw about hot roast beef sandwiches on biscuits with horseradish, some little bake thing. She's making it for my birthday tonight. Today is not my birthday, but we'll celebrate it tonight. Just more of Phil to love. There are a lot of Phil to love here. Does Phil do a live retrial? I was actually, as you're saying that, I was thinking I got to try it and do like a video recording me trying pork roll for the first time in 25 years, Al. That would be kind of funny, honestly. I don't think enough people know how much I hate pork roll to make me doing a live retry of pork roll funny, unless I just do it live on the air here during a morning show. A bin of wings, they look kind of mid. We need to buy Phil a fryer. What? How do you do your pork roll? I put it in a pan. So when I worked at a pizza shop, we used to have the big flat top, like you do your cheesesteaks and all, and you'd take the sliced pork roll and just slap it on the flat top grill. It would curl up a little bit on the edges. You'd flip it, you put the cheese on it, you put it on a roll, whatever. That's it. Todd, now I want a hot roast beef. I love hot roast beef so much, especially an open face over mashed potatoes. Yeah. Dude, I've been pumping out the shorts. Shorts help the algo a little bit, for sure. Phil turning. I wish I was turning 34. My birthday is on Saturday, and I wish I was turning 34. Add a lot of numbers to that. Mad chatter, tulips, roast beef, and pork talk. Christmas came early for Mitch, and he's missing it. Exactly. Where's Mitchy Poo this morning? This conversation was made for him today. What, your wings be baked, right? So, yes, my wings are baked at my pizza shop. But what you saw in that short video, and even if they're fried, most places do pre-prep their wings by baking them so they cook quicker. That's what you saw me prepping wings in that short. I know you do, and I love that you love to troll my work. I do reply to them, or at least like every single one of them. Will Embiid be traded by the end of the season? Absolutely not, Todd. And not because they wouldn't try, but because Joel Embiid is not allowed to be traded until after the season ends. So basically, the NBA rules are you have to wait 6 months after you sign a contract. Like, they could trade Paul George at the trade deadline because his contract was signed early in the offseason. Embiid's extension was signed in September. The trade deadline, I think, is March 1st or March 2nd. He's not eligible to be traded till like March 8th or 10th or something like that. So he won't be able to be traded this year. So there's that. Now, will he be traded in the offseason? Maybe, maybe not. The one thing about NBA trades and the Sixers that we need to just shut up with and people need to stop is the guys like Aiden Laporta and others out there that are bringing up Jimmy Butler back to the Sixers. There is no world in which I want the Philadelphia 76ers to invest draft picks and players to bring back 60-year-old Jimmy Butler. Why has Philadelphia 76ers fans not moved on from buckets? I don't care that he's got dog in him or whatnot. I don't want him. Don't want him. And I wanted him 2 years ago back in Philly. I never wanted him to leave in 2019. But can we stop with the Jimmy Butler trade talk? Can we stop putting out trade rumors out there on that? So we got to do, at least we gained one new subscriber to this show because we were at 295 to start, so we're at 296. That's fantastic. You know what's going to happen? Mitchie Poo's going to want a screenshot of 369, so we get the 370 by mistake. He's going to unsubscribe at screenshot 369 and then resubscribe. I guarantee he does that. Embiid is playing to be traded this offseason. I 100% agree that as soon as this season ends, whether it's in missing the playoffs, the play-in round, whatever it may be, I truly believe as soon as the last day of the season's over, Joel Embiid is going to say, I want out. And there will be takers for him. Not the value we want, but there will be takers. What's your thoughts on Paul George? Do you think he is done? I didn't want Paul George to begin with. I accepted Paul George coming here once he was signed because, I got to. He is still a good player. But if we're convinced that Joel Embiid wants out at the end of the season, Todd, if this team is not going to make a run this year, which they're not, they might backdoor their way into the playoffs or something. But if I'm the Sixers, and I know Joel Embiid wants out, and I know we're not going to win a title this year, I'm already trying to trade Paul George at the trade deadline. And you can legally do it. Golden State wanted him, but couldn't make a deal with the Clippers. So I'm calling Golden State up. Do you want Paul George? I'm calling the Lakers up. Do you want Paul George? I'm calling up whoever else on the West Coast might want Paul George. Anybody else in California that might want Paul George. Like, yo, what are you going to give me for him? I'll take your bad contracts and draft picks on. Not process restart over, but I'm starting the process. That's just me. We were his fourth choice. Media trying to create a market for Bohm. Somebody's trying to create a market for Bohm, but it seems like nobody wants Alec Bohm, Nooms. And I think that kind of leans towards my theory that Alec Bohm is just not that great. He's good, but he's not as great as we think he is. Phil, do you think we bring back Jimmy Butler? He's got, yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Actually, so it's a funny thing. You're trying to make a joke here, K1. But see, here's the thing. I don't want him. Nobody wants him. The Heat don't want him. But I don't trust Daryl Morey to not at least try to bring him back. You're making a joke. I'm making a joke. We're all making jokes about Jimmy Butler. But I don't trust that Daryl Morey won't at least try, which is a big, big problem right there, and why I have a problem with Daryl Morey. FOMO nostalgia is why Butler talk is even happening. People just can't get over it. Now, he's just not the same. More instability just with the Sixers need, right? Yeah, I mean, you think there's a lot of drama with the Eagles right now. Just imagine if Jimmy Butler was back. Come on. It would be ridiculous in this town. Paul George is not worth his salary, but is a good player, but not at that number. Yeah, I agree. At this point, Paul George is past his prime. He's still a really good player, in theory. We're stuck with a lot of overpaid players at this point, plain and simple. And I'm trying to trade him at the deadline. I really, truly am, especially if I think there's even a 60, 70% chance that Joel wants out. I'm moving Paul George. Trying to get some assets for the draft or the offseason. Sounds like someone else that just passed through Doug. Do you think the Sixers should tank and just play? Well, I don't think they need to tank per se because they do have Maxey. And I do want to see more McCain. Dude, some of these games recently, McCain's not starting. McCain's not even playing top 7 minutes on the team every single game. One of the last couple games, McCain had like the 8th amount of shots on the team. No, it should be Maxey McCain starting every single game. McCain needs 30 minutes a game. Maxey needs 35. But we know that's not the way that Nick Nurse is going to do things because they're still trying to sell it that the Sixers team has a chance. Phil's never had enough to get Crochet in this seller's market. Yeah, because the free agent market is so weak, the trades are getting very expensive. And out of the free agents that have signed, a lot of those guys are signing deals way out of control. Outside of Juan Soto. I mean, Juan Soto's deal is out of control, but I get why that deal was made. Okay, Belichick to UNC or any other co-ed safe. He keeps getting older. They keep staying the same age. I see what you're doing there. I think it's kind of weird and crazy, and there's two different theories of Bill Belichick going to UNC and becoming a college coach. That he just wants a different challenge, that he wants to set his kid up for a job down the line. But there's also the theory that maybe no NFL team actually wanted Bill Belichick, so he had to go to college. And it's not like a big college program is bringing him in. UNC is not a football powerhouse. At least they're not the last time I watched college football. So I think it's kind of an interesting place for him. He's going to a low-level college football program. He's, 75? How many years does he even have? I think it's kind of weird. I wonder how much of it is nobody just wanted him. Nobody wanted him. So he's got to go somewhere. He still wants to coach. I finally also realized Belichick was destined to date younger women. It's in his name, Belichick. Look, he's just going to UNC to scope out the next girls so he can move on from this girl and trade her. Or maybe the part of it was he's coaching UNC so she can get back into college or something like that. Maybe she gets free tuition. Got the troublemaker. What is Nick Nurse's infatuation with Kyle Lowry? You know what's funny with me? When he was in Toronto, he played and developed a lot of young guys in Toronto. He developed Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby and whatnot out there. He doesn't want to do it here, and it drives me nuts. Phil, come scrape off my car. How's it snowing up there? That sucks. Sorry for that. Belichick is a coach that got fired from Cleveland. Then he went home to Daddy Parcells in New England and lucked into Brady. Look, I don't necessarily agree with this, but also I don't know if I disagree with this at all, TMC. I mean, I know there's some Bills hatred towards your Patriots, or toward the Patriots, but man, Nurse puts Lowry on the court when he feels his message ain't getting across. That has to be the only reason. Or he's an idiot. I don't know. Bill Belichick at UNC makes me think of Rodney Dangerfield. Absolutely agree with you on that. I think he runs the triple Lindy. Look, I thought about that. I thought about, Billy Madison, and when he rolls up to high school with his little sports car out, and gets out thinking it's the 80s still, and everyone looks at him weird. There's a lot of great references on Bill Belichick going to UNC. But let me tell you something. For the next 3 or 4 years, well, in the next 2 years, I would say, UNC is going to have a powerhouse team. Because recruiting-wise, he doesn't even have to go on the recruiting trail. He can sit at home and Zoom with these guys. And if Bill Belichick wants you to be at his program, you're going to go there. Because Bill Belichick is one of the all-time winning coaches in football history. So people are going to be like, I want my kid to learn from Bill Belichick because there's a better chance of him being a pro quarterback or a pro football player under Bill Belichick than anyone else. Plain and simple. Belichick is all about Nepo, the NFL team. Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to get his kid a job. And he wrote a 400-page perspective. Yeah, that I don't know who actually would read the full 400 pages. The fellow kids meme, what? The no NFL team would have accepted that. I agree with you. Maybe that is part of the problem, too. Big Al's if you and I are on the same page. I comment that on ESPN's page. I was thinking more Billy Madison, but I get the reference. What's your thoughts on Nick Nurse and the job he is doing, Todd? I have a lot of thoughts on Nick Nurse this year. Really quickly, some of them are that he's stubborn, doesn't play the young guys enough. I feel bad for him because he's taking a lot of bullets for the organization in the Joel Embiid situation, making himself look like an asshole to the media because he can't talk about what's going on with Joel Embiid. He's not got a strong, healthy team consistently enough to fully grade him on this season. There's a lot of things that concern me. Playing Lowry over McCain certain fourth quarters bothers me. But again, he's been put in a terrible situation with injured players, with lack of transparency, with the organization telling him not to be transparent, and everybody not playing. So it's hard to really nail down a definitive thought process on the job Nick Nurse is doing this year. But what Nick Nurse, we were sold on Nick Nurse before he came here, he's not following through with. So there's that. Billy Madison made no sense with that scene. There was still a nice car and stereo. Yeah. Belichick just wants to win a college national championship so he can solidify his spot as the greatest coach ever. I don't think he'll win a national championship, but he'll have the team competitive within 2 years. Nick Saban couldn't hack it in the NFL, or maybe he didn't want to. Neither could Urban Meyer. Sixers are where head coaches go. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we were too harsh on Doc Rivers. Maybe Doc Rivers was actually pretty good, and the Sixers organization ruined him. Never mind. Doc Rivers sucks in Milwaukee too. Those '90s kids laughing at Billy don't know, and now they're all it's true. That's true. That's true with that one right there. What's this? I saw that it's a chance George Pickens may not be playing this Sunday. Maybe playing. The last I heard is that George Pickens is not playing on Sunday. That was the last I heard yesterday morning, that George Pickens won't be playing. I don't know. I don't know how the Steelers are 10-3 at this point. I don't know how, the Steelers do what they do. They're averaging almost 25 points a game. They don't have any elite weapons on offense. George Pickens, I get. George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and Najee Harris. That's who you have to stop. Najee Harris is averaging 3.9 yards a carry. They run him a lot. He just doesn't get much yardage-wise. George Pickens is their best wide receiver. He might not play. Pat Freiermuth, he's a tight end. And we can stop tight ends. We've proven that. So I don't know how they're winning. I just don't at this point. Urban Meyer failed because he thought he was at Blue Mountain State. If you know, you know. And that joke was made a lot. Urban Meyer failed because the organization failed. The organization cared more about, all I knew Urban Meyer was going to fail the moment before he even coached a single football game for Jacksonville. And then he was involved in a backstage scene with Chris Jericho picking up his laptop and smacking it over somebody's head because the Cons care about that AEW investment just as much as their football team investment. As soon as that was part of a scene in a wrestling promotion, I'm like, all right, Urban Meyer's failing. Not a chance in the world he succeeds with that scenario down there. Greatest coach ever, Tom Landry, still alive. I don't know if he's still alive. And I don't know who the greatest coach all time is. Maybe Nick Sirianni. Maybe Nick Sirianni is the greatest coach. All right, I want to, we're having a little fun today. We're moving on from the drama, but I want to bring in a different form of drama a little bit, a little conversation point here on Jalen Hurts. I've got a lot of flack this week on Twitter because I put a post out there about sharing Joe Burrow's highlights and, the fact that Joe Burrow is 5-8, but puts up all these cushy stats. And it's basically a tweet about, look, Joe Burrow, 5-8, great stats, or Jalen Hurts, 11-2, 9 wins in a row, one of the winningest quarterbacks in 4 years in the playoffs. All, just saying that I prefer winning than stats. Okay? I've had different threads of this on Twitter, and all of them have given me a lot of help. All right? And the most common response I'm getting on this conversation is, if you put Joe Burrow with this Eagles roster, the Eagles would be 13-0 and a lock to win the Super Bowl. And I was thinking about that, because I don't know if that's the case or not. But then, for some magic reason yesterday, I started thinking about how Joe Burrow couldn't be on this Eagles roster, because Jalen Hurts is why this Eagles roster is what it is. Now, hear me out. Jalen Hurts signed a team-friendly contract. He's got a $13 million cap hit this year. Joe Burrow, $29 million. Next year, Jalen Hurts' cap hit is only $21 million. Next year, Joe Burrow's contract cap hit, $46 million. You cannot sign Saquon Barkley or give A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith extensions with Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow didn't want to take a team-friendly contract early. He waited to get max value all up front, kill the team's cap. You can't build it. There's a reason why Jamar Chase struggled to get an extension. T. Higgins has to play on a franchise tag, because they can't give out big contracts. Same thing happened in Dallas with Dak Prescott. You can't just put Joe Burrow on the Eagles, because the Eagles wouldn't exist as they are without Jalen Hurts being a team player and taking a team-friendly contract. It's got a lot of outs, that took money up front, cap-friendly thing, every single year over the next 4 years, counting this year. Anywhere from, I think the lowest is $11 million in 2027 to $27 million next year, difference in cap hit between Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. And that's why this Eagles team is such a great deep roster, because Jalen Hurts cared more about winning in the team versus Joe Burrow. Just going to throw that out there. I'm going to catch up on the comments and see if anybody agrees with that random philosophy I came up with. NCAA coaches are lazy when they come to the NFL. Saban spent more time on the golf course. Urban Meyer's just a POS. Well, yeah, that is true too. Do college kids get paid? The NIL helps them make some money now. Isn't that where Lou Holtz went to NC? Did he? I don't remember. Sirianni could coach a football program at a clown college. I think Nick Sirianni would actually be a pretty good college football coach. I think his message would translate to those kids. Yeah, AEW. Nick, the most mid coach. I disagree with that. Many have NIL deals, and many expect them. Look, the NIL is going to make Bill Belichick at least get the recruits. Probably a lot of quarterbacks be good. Eagles got the best wide receiver core because their quarterback was willing to take a team-friendly deal. These shouldn't be panic. If the Birds lose Sunday, let's not start wearing battle scars again. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Stevie Fuentes? Morning. Russell Wilson is 5-0 versus the Eagles in his career. Needs to be 5-1 Sunday night. Yeah, look, it's been since 1960-something since the Steelers have beaten the Eagles, and Russell Wilson has never lost the Eagles. When I watch Russell Wilson against the Eagles, I always think about how Andy Reid wanted him, or Howie Roseman wanted him. They ended up with Nick Foles instead. There shouldn't be, but you and I know there will be. Sky is falling. Yeah, if the Eagles, here's the thing, it is kind of important for the Eagles to win on Sunday, Duck and Nooms, because if they lose, it's all going to be about the drama that we just had is why they lost, and the locker room is fractured, and XYZ, instead of, look, they've won 9 games in a row. They're not going to win out and win 15 games. They're going to lose. Now's the time to lose, I guess. I like Hurts, but the question is, why has Jalen clearly regressed as a quarterback despite the Eagles winning? As Jalen Hurts said, every year it's going to look different, Todd, this team. This is just how the team looks right now, all right? And the team's going to look how Jalen Hurts wants them to look. I love that line from Jalen Hurts. The team's going to look how I want them to look. Bengals will never win until they invest into the O-line. But see, the thing is, the Eagles invested in the O-line, giving out a massive extension to Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. Probably after this year, they're going to have to give Cam Jurgens the investment. They were able to invest in their offensive line because they got Jalen Hurts on a team-friendly deal early. Joe Burrow held out to make sure he got the highest paid contract in football at the last second and wasn't team-friendly. Just like Dallas won't be able to do that. You know, If a quarterback wants to win, remember Tom Brady won all this time? They had a great defense in Tom Brady in New England. Why? Because Tom Brady was never the top paid quarterback in the NFL in his early part of his career. Maybe he was in Tampa Bay at the end. But in the bulk of his time in New England, Tom Brady, I actually honestly think he was never even a top 5 paid quarterback. Because if you take a little bit less, there's money left over to actually build a team, an offensive line, a defensive line. Just think about that. All these extensions that they got to give out after this season, they got the money because of Jalen Hurts. Just throwing that out there. Car stinks. My car does not stink. Big Al, they don't have the cash properly to invest in the O-line because of Joe Burrow's contract. I don't know what Nurse is at this point, but you really can't expect much with the situation is hurting Nick Nurse for sure. Brady mid-and announcing he's getting better. The Steelers are solid in the trenches. I think that is how they win. Offensive line, defensive line. And I think the stats clearly say that. And a strong, solid head coach. He took his money other ways. Okay? Brady will get better at announcing. He's mid at ownership. Only people on the team that care about passing stats over winning is wide receivers. Everyone else just wants to win. Wide receivers are the biggest divas in sports. Honestly speaking, mister. Biggest divas in sports are wide receivers. And look, they all want the stats because they want to get paid. The problem is, A.J. Brown just got paid. So I don't know what he's complaining about. The Raiders stink, and they always stink. Look, but they're in Vegas, baby. So, it's Vegas, baby. That's all that matters, right? But still, on this Joe Burrow, you just put him on the Eagles, and they'd be undefeated. But see, the thing is, people don't understand that the Eagles wouldn't exist. Just look at the rosters of the Bengals and the Eagles. You take it all into account. You would take the Eagles roster over the Bengals roster. Yeah, Joe Burrow is the better quarterback because he puts up bigger stats. But how many of those stats come in garbage time or when they're behind? And also, you might have that better offensive line if you signed a little better of a contract. If you had a GM that knew how to build a team. I like your game plan for Sunday, Phil. We should run right at TJ Watt. Look, I've always said that the key to stopping a great pass rusher is run right at him. Because then that gets them back on their heels. It makes them do something that they don't want to do, stop the run. Then it throws them off their pass rush game. It's always been a big thing for me. I remind everyone that the Raiders beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, half the chat wasn't born then, just so you know. I was a baby. Hurts didn't take less. He took all he could get. You're misunderstanding things. Big difference between him and Burrow. First overall pick. No. Jalen Hurts took his contract early and designed it in a way that the cap hits. Because Jalen Hurts was, for literally 1 minute, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. But he knew that contract wasn't going to stay number 1 overall for very long. But he designed it and structured it in a way. There's a lot of outs for the Eagles that if they wanted to move on after, I think it's 2026 or 2027, they can move on from him if they want with minimal cap casualties. It was designed and built early before the contracts got out of hand with some of the other guys. Okay? Where you're drafted first overall versus so you can't use the first overall versus second round pick because Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. I'm not saying Joe Burrow is not a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts in pure passing talent. I would never say that, okay? All I'll say is that Jalen Hurts wants to win. Jalen Hurts built this, help this team be able to build it the way it is. TJ Watt is the out quicker, or is tire out quicker. Yes, absolutely. I remember Wentz numbers in 2018, great numbers, bad record. Yeah. Ouch. Who does Eagles lose to in like 2004? I can't remember 2004. He didn't design anything. Well, Howie Roseman designed it, and Jalen Hurts signed off on it. Jalen Hurts could have said, no, I want max money, and I'm going to wait. I just took us to the Super Bowl. I'm going to wait. But no, he didn't. Jalen Hurts made sure there was money. There's a reason. Look at the offense and defense of the Bengals. There's a reason why they struggle. They had to let Joe Mixon go. Now, they got lucky that Chase Brown has turned into a solid rookie running back, but they had to let go of their star running back because they didn't have the money. They couldn't give the big extension to T. Higgins that he wanted. He held out to the last second of camp until he took the franchise tag. Their offensive line and defensive line are in shambles because they don't have the money. Just put it out there. Isn't that the Clowney hit year? No, 2019 was the Clowney hit year. We were on pace to get back to the Super Bowl until that. The Clowney hit was 2019. 2018, I think, was another injured year late in the season when, 2018 was the loss to the Saints, right, where Jeffries dropped that pass for the first down. What are your thoughts on Russell Wilson's resurrection? I love resurrection stories, Todd. I do. I don't want them to be resurrection story against us, but I do. I love the Geno Smith resurrection story. I love the Baker Mayfield, the Sam Darnold one. Russell Wilson's always been a good quarterback. Never flashy, but he's a good, solid quarterback. He's a wily vet, and if the Eagles aren't careful, Russell Wilson is going to beat us on Sunday. It was his time to sign. Do we sign, period? Look, he could have waited until somebody else signed and then said, I want more money than that person. He could have. He didn't have to sign at that exact moment. Nobody was giving Hurts more than what he got. Well, because he could have gotten more, Barb. I strongly disagree. I believe that he could have gotten more or wanted more money up front. He could have made it less team-friendly. I truly believe that. Burrow's an exceptional quarterback in talent, but wants the bag more than the Lombardi. If wanted the Lombardi, he would have switched teams and let that – yeah, absolutely, he could have done that too. Absolutely. He could have signed a more team-friendly deal. He could have left a few bucks on the table to keep T. Higgins happy or to go get an offensive lineman. He could have done a lot of things. Is it okay to have an ice-cold beer for breakfast? Absolutely. Why not? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Todd. And with that note, it is 9 o'clock, just after 9 o'clock, guys, and you're watching Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Please, if you haven't already done it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click that share button. Most of you have subscribed. If you haven't, do it now. If you haven't hit the like button, please do it now. And please, 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 for those that have subscribed, click share and share it on a social media platform. Let's get this channel up and away. Please, I'd greatly appreciate it. Phil is wrong about that. What am I wrong about? The okay for beer? I think it's perfectly okay to have a beer at breakfast. In fact, I wish I could have a beer right now. There's such thing as a shower beer. Yeah, the shower beer is something that came up this summer. Did we have the shower beer conversation on this show? I know I had it on Twitter. I've never heard of the shower beer before this summer. Never heard of it. I've never thought about cracking a beer and taking it to the shower with me. Never in my life. And it's something I still haven't tried. But maybe I need to. I don't know. I don't get the shower beer thing, Duck, at all. I don't want anything in the shower with me. No beer, no food, no nothing. I may or may not be drinking a beer right now. Hey, it's Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's probably 5:03 somewhere, not 5 o'clock somewhere. Why not? Where would it be 5:03 right now? What parts of the world? Somebody tell me. Shower beers are the way to start the day. I've never had a shower beer. I doubt I ever will have a shower beer. I'm just going to lay that on the line. You had me at beer. Yeah, chat. I'm a big beer guy. I know Rick's a big beer guy too when he's in the chat. And I love beer. Who does? Well, there's a lot of people that don't love beer. I love good beer, and it's just a great thing. Beer in the shower is the Thirsty Thursday. Yay! That's right. Nothing's wrong with a Thirsty Thursday, right? Check out Two Birds, One Show podcast tonight where we talk lots of beer. I check it out as much as I can, guys. You guys got to check out Rick's YouTube show or his podcast, Two Birds, One Show. They talk birds and beer, basically. And they do a fantastic job, and I absolutely love them, guys. Please, check them out. Rick, if you want to copy and paste and put it in the chat, a link to your YouTube channel or Facebook page, go right ahead. Put the link in the chat. I fully support Rick and the work he does. It's a fantastic show, and they do a great job. And who doesn't love talking about football and beer? I mean, I do. Chet invented the shower beer. Chet's old enough to have probably invented beer itself. Probably. Chet was probably around when the wheel was built, right, for the first time. I wanted to have a drink off versus Phil. Beer only competition. I'm too old for the drinking competitions anymore, Mad Chatter. Back in the day, I can out shotgun anybody in beers, but now, I don't know. Those funnels, those long funnels where you'd pour like a 6-pack of beer into a funnel and suck it all down, man. I used to be a master at that shit. Not anymore. I am too old for that, and I can't have it. I can't hang anymore. Beer and football, what a great show. I mean, exactly. So, Todd, find my man Rick's show. I'd greatly appreciate it and help support that man. No, it was the double doink year. The double doink year was 18. Okay, gotcha. Trying to remember which year was which is like so difficult in this brain of mine. It just is. So hard to figure out what's going on in the world. Yesterday was a stressful ass day. So my brain is fried today. Won't lie. I partook in too many adult beverages last night to get the stress down from yesterday. So, it is what it is. I've actually never had a shower beer. You're right there with me, Chet. I've never thought about bringing a beer into a shower ever before. But I've taken Big Al's comment as a challenge. Okay. All right. I just don't get it. I don't. No, Phil's gummies. Those mess people up. Those last night for sure. Much appreciate Phil. No, I appreciate you. I appreciate your support of this show. And if I can help anybody find your show, Rick, I would gladly do it because you do great work, my man. Just like me. Hustling nonstop, my man. Rick's Rants on Facebook. Got a little Facebook page, Rick's Rants. I love them. Love them. Guys, we're about 20 minutes left in the show today. So again, let's bring this back full circle. We'll finalize keys to victory for an Eagles tomorrow, of course. But for the next 20 minutes, we continue talking Sixers. We continue talking Phillies offseason. Why is it so quiet? There's rumors for a new Philadelphia Eagles stadium. That's why Jeffrey Lurie sold 8% of his team to help raise money to build a new stadium. And they're going to put a retractable dome on it, which makes me happy. That's something that we could put on the agenda for the rest of the show as well. Every stadium for every sport should have a dome or retractable roof on it. No doubt it in any way, shape, or form. It just makes so much sense. I hate the elements affecting the outcome of games. Your stadium becomes multi-purpose use for WrestleManias, for concerts, for whatnot. If you put a dome on it. And the fact that Buffalo and Chicago are building new stadiums, Chicago and somebody, I think it's Buffalo, and they're not putting domes on it, ludicrous, in my opinion. I've done a lot of fun stuff in the shower, but drank beer ain't one of them. I don't want to know what else you've done in the shower, Rick. It's a morning show. This is not trending in the late night, okay? Chet, you can get 2 birds with 1 stone. You get clean and drink beer. Yeah. Not worried at all about the Steelers. Remember all the hoopla with the Ravens, and we took care of them. Eagles gear up for a big game. I love that positivity, Jose. 296 is the Heezies. We've only gained 1 subscriber this show. Not good enough. Guys, there's 19 people watching. There should be at least 19 likes on this video and hopefully a couple new subscribers. I feel like the Sixers are far from dead. Oh, would you look at that? We got a guest joining us here. All right, well, we're going to move on from the comments. We'll catch up on the comments later. But joining me right now on the I Have No Sponsor hotline, Neil Coulong. Good morning, Neil. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I always feel bad interrupting. I don't know exactly what you're saying at the time, but I feel like it's the most important thing ever, and then I just jump in.
I like it when you jump in because, we're talking Eagles, we're talking Steelers this week and stuff like that. Obviously, you've been covering the Steelers for a very long time. And, there's been a lot of drama this week with the Philadelphia Eagles with, locker room stuff and team stuff. It's interesting for me to get an outside perspective from someone that's covering other teams in the NFL on what's going on in Philadelphia. And do you think Pittsburgh is going to lean on this kind of drama and kind of use it to kind of, maybe take advantage of the situation in Philadelphia right now?
This is so funny because I've been asked that question on the other side of the coin for the last 6, 7 years, something
Yeah.
like that. For the Steelers to be playing a team that has drama going into a game, that's unusual. I would say this. I don't think it really matters, or to say if it mattered, I don't think Philadelphia, if it mattered negatively, I don't think Philadelphia would be as good a team as it is.
Mhm.
It didn't start this week. We just found out about it this week, or maybe
Yeah.
it's something that we've known about. What I would look at is last year something happened. I think
Mhm.
it's safe to surmise something
Mhm.
had to have happened to that team last year. You don't see many of them fall apart the way they did. They ended the season legitimately as one of the worst teams in football. They
Mhm.
couldn't do anything right. To me, something had to have happened for the amount of talent that's on that team. You kind of have the overhanging um, feeling about that going into this year. You're not quite sure, but look at
Mhm.
what they've done with whatever it is that
Mhm.
allegedly happened. For that to come out now, I get why everyone wants to jump on it, but clearly this is not something that just came up within the last 72 hours. So
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. I think Philadelphia is a very good football team. And at
Yeah,
the end of the
that's how
day,
I'm looking at it. That's how I'm feeling about it. But see, the question is now: is the Steelers? How good of a football team are the Steelers? And there's a couple great questions here. Like when I've been doing my research for tomorrow, because tomorrow's always my keys to victory, keys to the game kind of show leading into the weekend. And as I'm doing my Steelers research, why are the Steelers such a good team? Because they were 4-2. They bench their quarterback. They start Russell Wilson. They continue to win after that quarterback change and situation. But like, I don't see anything flashy when I look at the Steelers, kind of like the Eagles, too. What makes the Steelers such a good team that they've won like 7 of their last 8 games. They're, 2 games up in their division. What makes them such a special team?
I think what you have to look at with the Steelers, go back to basically the moment Ben Roethlisberger's elbow snapped,
Mm,
2019 season. Week 2, probably was hurt before that, but he went out in week 2. From that point on, starting quarterbacks, the Steelers have had Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, and now Russell Wilson. I might be forgetting somebody in there, a spot starter or two. Put that on the side burner.
mm,
Look around the culture of the NFL. What's one way to summarize everything is quarterback worship.
mm,
Everything we talk about comes down to the quarterbacks, not
mm,
about the team in this game. And that's a generational thing. You see that in
mm,
the NBA. We follow the players more so than the teams.
mm,
The quarterbacks are the players that matter in the NFL. So you have a team that has first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably one of the 3 best defensive players of his generation, and he's putting up in a literal interpretation of what the concept MVP would mean.
mm,
MVP numbers for 5, 6 years in a row. No one, including Aaron Donald, gotten first place votes for Defensive Player of the Year 5 years in a row. TJ Watt,
okay.
the level of impact that he has made. Yet at the same time, the Steelers have had, I don't think even with the shadow of a doubt, the worst quarterback room in the NFL over the last 7 seasons,
Mhm.
6 seasons, since Roethlisberger's injury. This is with all due respect to your fine backup quarterback who's well loved and absolutely got a raw deal in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson came in. He plays above board at the most important position in all of sports.
Mhm.
That's the difference. Very
Mhm.
simply. And somebody alluded to this earlier. Mike Tomlin also is a hell of a coach. A
Yeah.
hell of a coach doesn't pull out 7, 9-8, 10-7 with the worst rosters he's ever had.
Mhm.
You have to understand, there was a point in time, this was a running joke that we had. There was something called Daniel Archibong starting for them on the defensive line. They got their depth was completely destroyed defensively. And they had Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph starting for them at quarterback. If you are able to get over that and win more games than you lose, I think that's a remarkable accomplishment for a coaching staff and for a team. But at the end of the day, if you want to win, you need to get a quarterback that can play above board and actually
Mhm.
have a competitive advantage at the position for the first time in a very, very long time. That's where the Steelers are now. They're winning games because they have a quarterback that can win them 2 more drives a game than what they were getting before. Mitch Trubisky generated, he didn't even get points. It took him 9 drives to get a touchdown. Russell
Right.
Wilson can do it in 2. And it's not
Mm.
even like it's the best offense in the league, but they're winning games because they can play schematic defense very well, and they have a
Mhm.
quarterback that can make a few plays here and there.
Were you expecting, questions about Russell Wilson's resurgence. When you guys brought Russell Wilson in and he was hurt and he didn't play right away, and then they made the switch from Justin Fields, who was 4-2. They weren't putting up huge numbers with Justin Fields, but they were 4-2 and whatnot, and they made the switch to Russell Wilson. Did you guys expect in Pittsburgh Russell Wilson to have this great of a resurgence in his career this year, with considering everything there, the team, the players, everything like that?
I think any fan base that's been cursed with the whole back and forth quarterback ping pong thing that the Steelers have, and if you ask the fan base, they're probably mutually split that they screwed up with Mason Rudolph and letting him go. They
Mm,
screwed up in benching Justin Fields. They
mm,
didn't give Mitch Trubisky enough of a chance. Kenny
mm,
Pickett was really, really good, except he wasn't, but we don't care because he's really, really good. There's a slew of excuses. At the end of the day, though, they went out and got Russell Wilson to be their starting quarterback.
mm,
It wasn't until after that went down and Kenny Pickett's reaction to Russell Wilson coming in that they bothered to go get Justin Fields. Fields was
mm,
more than available the entire offseason. They didn't trade much for Fields. So it's not
mm,
as if they really, kind of waited out the market and then got a deal for something they were planning to do. The reason Fields came on was not because to challenge Wilson. He was there because they got rid of Pickett.
right.
Backup quarterback with veteran experience. He's relatively cheap. I mean, not the cheapest guy you could get, but it's up there. And he did a good job for what they asked him to do. But it was never a question that Wilson wasn't the starter. He was going to be the starter. It's just his
Mm,
old man calf kept blanking out on him for whatever reason. I'll be honest. At that point, I was a little concerned. I got a few years on Russell Wilson, and I know if my calf goes out, I'm not right for a month. I can't play quarterback anyway. I can't imagine doing what he's doing. I figured this is probably going to be a while, but Wilson came in, took control of everything, and with that, he plays well within their system. He makes the right gambles at the right times, and he delivers balls that guys catch. I mean, it's as
mhm.
simple as that. They have a horrendously poor wide receiver room. Their
Yeah.
best receiver is busy bouncing cornerbacks off the back wall during Hail Marys. It makes plays here and there. He's a step away from a suspension. They're not going to have him for probably another week, if not 2. And they're getting out and making things happen with something called Van Jefferson, with
Mm,
something I don't even know what that all Arawan check guy that they have in there. No clue where that guy came from. He's a special teams player. They're
mm,
getting him snaps, and
mm,
they're still be able to produce as an offense. That's what Wilson is really doing for them all around. And the value of that is simply in the numbers. That and having an adult run their offense, unlike whatever clown show they had over the last 2 years, they've managed to find success with that. And it doesn't look traditional. It doesn't seem like it's really working, but play to play, they are far more effective than they used to be. And I say that to an Eagles audience. You remember the last time that the Steelers played the Eagles.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Eagles won the coin toss and elected to kick the bejesus out of the Steelers for 4 quarters. It was like
Mm,
28-0 after 4 drives. It's not the same Steelers team anymore, but a large part of that, obviously, Philadelphia is a very potent team. They can
mhm.
do a lot of things well, but the Steelers can actually punch back, which they have not been able to do in recent years. And because of that, their defense stands out a little bit more. They can get sacks, they can get turnovers, and have an offense that can actually benefit from that.
Yeah, everything you just said about the Pittsburgh offense, I always put the Eagles offense versus their opponent's defense, their ranks and their numbers on a piece of paper, then vice versa, Eagles defense versus this week the Steelers offense. And I'm looking here, I'm like, how are the Steelers averaging almost 25 points a game? How are they doing this with they're the 9th best rush offense in football, but Najee Harris is averaging 3.9 yards a carry. Like, George or Pickens is everything you said about Pickens. I'm like, even if he played, I don't know if I'd be scared of him with our secondary. It's like I just don't get it. They're not putting up the flashy stats, but yet they're just finding ways to win. Somebody's saying this real quick. Here's a side little question from my man Todd. Do you blitz Russell Wilson a lot or no? Is there an answer to stopping the Steelers? Is it blitzing the Steelers? Is it just controlling the clock and keeping the Steelers offense off the field? What's the key to beating the Steelers? for
I
Todd?
haven't been asked how to beat the Steelers offense in a long time. They beat themselves routinely for so long.
I mean, 25 points a game is 25 points a game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they're putting up
it's solid. It gets the
points.
job done. I would say honestly, if you want to beat the Steelers offense, you really have to you have to win up front. You have to
Mhm.
control the gaps to keep the running game out of it. Because like you said, individually they don't put up huge numbers, but what they do is they win situationally.
Mhm.
Between three backs.
Mhm.
I put Cordero Patterson as a part of that, but Jalen Warren, I think this year overall is probably produced as much as Harris has,
Mhm.
snap to snap. They're clearly a 1 and 2 combination. Either one of them could get the bulk of the carries and have a successful game. They've both done that a couple times, but it's not cumulative. It's not adding up over 4 quarters. They're putting it together in a couple drives. It tends to be in the second half. When they need them to happen, they can make them happen. 2 of 3 have also fumbled in pretty key situations as well. A lot of it, though, I mean, you know, you don't want to point this out, but you played Oakland once, or you played Las Vegas once. You played Cincinnati. I don't know if you've seen Cincinnati, but oh my,
We kind of beat Cincinnati this year already. So, you know.
maybe the worst NFL defense I've ever seen. They were just horrendously bad. So the stats are one thing. You look at it down to down. The Steelers make big plays down the field.
Mhm.
It's not a common thing. You know, they're not thrown to the thoroughbreds that Philadelphia has, but they're able to scheme up looks, and Wilson can deliver passes down the field. Now, Pickens is a huge part of that.
Mhm.
Mike Williams was brought in, I thought, to kind of finish up rehab, maybe be a weapon down the stretch for them. It looks like that's starting to bear fruit a little bit. Made a couple nice plays. You got credit for one of them. He had an offensive pass interference that took out another one. But they're producing more and more each week. They look more and more comfortable. So where they're going to finish, I think, is going to be a lot different from where they started, and that's really kind of a Mike Tomlin trait. He kind of takes early season to figure out what they need to do, adjusts to it, and then by the end, they're noticeably a different team than where they were 10 weeks ago. Oftentimes for the better. It kind of depends on the size of the hole that they dug early in the season. But this year they didn't do that. They had somebody mention the schedule. They had probably a favorable schedule in the first half. They were able to take advantage of that and you know, stack wins for a while. And now this is really the time um, where they're gonna, you know, kind of pay for that, because if you look at what they have, it's not too far away from like a low seeded run to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Playing at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, and then you get the benefit of playing at home on Christmas, but your
Mhm.
reward is you got to play Kansas City.
Mhm.
Um, Typically, you beat 3 teams like that in a row, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Uh, where I'd be absolutely shocked if they won 3 in a row. I think they'll probably lose all 3, to be honest with you, starting with this weekend. But this is going to be the battle to find out. Really, I think in a lot of ways, Philadelphia has passed this test already. Pittsburgh
Mhm.
kind of needs to now, and in that, I think it's a game. Pittsburgh's going to be probably depleted a little bit now. Philadelphia's got film of what they do offensively without Pickens on the field. It advantage Philadelphia for sure, and this is kind of a grow up moment for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of answered or commented on something I was going to ask you. Like, I think this is a big week for the Eagles because of all the drama that's been going on. They got to come out and make a statement that the Eagles team is still a team. There's no fracture in the locker room, but it's an important game for Pittsburgh as well. You've got, I believe, a 2-game lead over Baltimore. You got us, and then you've got Baltimore the next week, which is arguably a more important game in the division, you know, and in your conference than this week with the Eagles. It almost feels like it's a must win for the Eagles because of the drama, but it's a must win game for the Steelers as well for their confidence, for their playoff positioning, etc. Do you worry about a team coached by Mike Tomlin with Russell Wilson? I don't worry about them looking ahead or looking past the Eagles because of that veteran leadership there at the top.
I think they know this is just the start of a very difficult 3 game stretch, and they need all the wins they can get.
Mm,
A 2 game lead with one at Baltimore still to play, you may as well be tied. Baltimore is a very good football team. Somehow or other, Pittsburgh's managed to beat them the overwhelming majority of the times they've played in the last 4 years, and I don't think Pittsburgh has had a better team any one of those games. So that's obviously tough. Kansas City boat races them at the same level that Buffalo and Philadelphia tend to. So
mm,
that's not one that you typically want to count on to have to win. in order to grab a division championship. So these are all big. If you want to look at it from a tiebreaker sense, the Philadelphia game is the least important considering it's an NFC game. But there's little comfort in that when you've got still three very tough teams to play, because you end with Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, for as bad as their defense was, they scored prolifically against Pittsburgh. I mean, they're an amazing offensive team. They had their way. I mean, poor Cam Sutton got beaten like a rented mule in the red zone of that game. I think they had 4 touchdown passes on him. Not a great game. You don't want that to be for the division championship either. So you've got to get something, probably 2-2 in these next 4 games, and to improve your situation, you have to start with the win against Philadelphia. And in that sense, it's a benefit that it's first, but you're also looking at a potential Super Bowl team. So not an easy road, however you want to slice it.
On the YouTube channel, this is obviously a Philadelphia sports YouTube channel. So most of my subscribers, most of my listeners are Philadelphia fans. Every week about Wednesday, I put a poll out on the YouTube page. Who's going to win? A logo of the Eagles, and this week a logo of the Steelers. So I just put it out yesterday. It's not even 24 hours old. Almost 115 votes, and it's 73-27 percentage-wise. Steelers are going to win over the Eagles. And I'm not sure if it's because Eagles fans are concerned with the Steelers, or if Eagles fans are just worried about the drama and that's overtaken them, or a lot of Steelers fans have invaded my YouTube page and voted for the Steelers. Should the Eagles, you said you think the Eagles are going to win this week. Should there be anything that the Eagles are scared of this week going against Pittsburgh?
I think, styles make fights. What I'm really excited about as far as this game goes is both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh have an expert's level ability to drag their opponent down to the bottom of the river and muck it up down there. They can win several different ways. It doesn't need to be textbook. It doesn't need to be pretty. In fact, they like it when you get off your game and have to play the way the Steelers play. Philadelphia does a lot of that as well. It's a nasty defensive front. There's a lot of things that they can do defensively. You mentioned the secondary. They're deep. They can do there's a lot of versatility on both sides of the ball. Pittsburgh likes to win in unorthodox ways. Pittsburgh's the team that's going to make a special teams play, do something to really muck up what it is that you're trying to do, and then let you come down and play at that level. If you want to, what we used to call Trubisky ball, if you want to play picket ball with them and try to make this race to 17 points, whoever gets the ball last wins. Okay, perfectly comfortable with that. Their heartbeat, blood pressure doesn't increase in those situations. They're used to that. They're used to winning ugly. Philadelphia has that ability as well. So to be honest, it's for me by far and away the hardest game of the year to predict. I could see it going either way. I just think typically I go with the overall talent of an offense. I think Philadelphia has so much of it. It's people have put on film, as long as TJ Watt's going to be playing wide 9, there are ways to slow him down. There are ways to succeed as an offense without doing the things that his wide 9 takes away. We've seen more and more of that in coming weeks, and he's having statistically probably the least impactful season he's had in a while. Raises the question of how healthy he is. How much longer is it going to last with everybody else? But they've gotten great play overall from a lot of different people, a lot of different times. Maybe not any one individual outside of Watt, but I think there's enough there. Philadelphia can be comfortable playing. Let's make this go into the fourth quarter. Let's pace each other and bring this, 17-14 game into the fourth quarter and figure out what needs to happen. But I could definitely see it going either way. I wouldn't think there shouldn't be a huge advantage either way, except for it being home field. And again, I'd give that to Philadelphia.
Real quick, because I'm up against the time here. I just wanted to get a quick answer from you because I haven't gotten any outsider's perspective yet on it. Saquon Barkley obviously comes to Philadelphia and is having a huge season. Saquon Barkley, went to Penn State out, Western Pennsylvania as well. Should Saquon Barkley's having an amazing season? I'm sure you can agree to that. Should Saquon Barkley get the MVP this season, or is it already locked up to Josh Allen?
I think it takes a lot to unseat a quarterback in this game, the way that it's played. Mm-hmm. The Bills win a lot of games when Josh Allen plays well. Sometimes they lose 44-42, and Josh Allen has legitimately the player of the week level performance. Mm-hmm. He's that good, and a lot of what Buffalo's success is going to come through him. I would argue, however, Saquon Barkley has that same impact on his team. Running backs are cool again. I get it. They're not going to be MVPs just because they're not in a position to be on the same level as a quarterback. If you want to talk about offensive player of the year, I think voters open up a little bit more to that. Barkley, I would argue Barkley has made as much an impact on a team's offense as any player in the league has. And it's not just the highlight plays. I saw the reverse, spin and everything like that. It's his value on all three downs, what he's doing in every phase of the game. I likened this earlier in a radio spot this week to a 95-yard touchdown pass that Ben Roethlisberger threw to Martavis Bryant in 2014, 2015. Explosive play. It's Cincinnati. Everybody hates Cincinnati. It was a lot of fun. The entire play was set up on what Le'Veon Bell did and what the defense did to react to Le'Veon Bell. Took a safety down to the box, took a linebacker with him. The entire defense was on one side of the field except for Bryant versus Leon Hall, who was like my age at that point. There's no way he was going to keep up with that guy on the wide side of the field, vertically down outside the numbers. And he didn't. He beat him by like 5 yards. I mean, it wasn't even close. Barkley gives the Eagles the ability to do a lot of that kind of thing. It's not to say that there aren't talented players on there. You'd think that losing Goddard would be, something of a loss, but Barkley can pick up so much of that underneath attention before the snap. And then after it, he's executing down the field as well. It's been a lot of fun to watch him play. Not a guy I want to see, Steelers, the Steelers go up against, but Barkley has been, I think, as impactful as any offensive player in the game this year.
Awesome. So Neil, guys, this is Neil Coulong at Neil Coulong on social media, on Twitter, etc. Neil, what do you got working this week? Where can they find your work? You do a lot of great football work, obviously, but mainly with the Steelers there. Where can everybody find your work and stuff like that?
Yeah, our stuff, we run primarily on the Sporting News. If you want to check that out, thesportingnews.com, go to the NFL page. I have a contract with them through my company. We also do stuff with Sports Illustrated, not Eagles related, unfortunately. Would love to get the Eagles site, but I don't think that's going to happen. Good stuff's all around. Just Sporting News primarily is where you're going to find it. Ryan O'Leary is our Eagles guy there. I know he's excited about this weekend. I've already been talking trash to him, and as pointless as that might be, I gotta represent to some degree. But Philadelphia's a great team. I always enjoy them, and I always enjoy coming on. So thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I wish we played more often so I can have you on more frequently and everything.
No doubt.
Neil, thank you very much for your time this morning. And unfortunately, I gotta say, go Birds.
Definitely good stuff. We'll talk again. Hopefully, come Super Bowl time.
Yeah, hey, that would be good right there. All right, everybody, thank you very much, Neil. Have a great day. That was Neil Coulong right there, guys. Unfortunately, we're up against it. We're out of time here today. Got to get to work, guys. So we'll be back tomorrow. More Eagles talk, more everything talk, guys. Go Birds, and bubbles up to y'all.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, pop.